When she first sailed into a blushing Sydney harbour a few years back, the city's love affair with cruise ships was sealed. Now her younger sister's in town, the glamorous Queen Elizabeth, launched by her namesake last year.
May God bless her and all who sail in her.
In January, the pair held an evening reunion in New York with a third relation, Queen Victoria. There was a brief catch-up before they went their separate ways. Mary to South America, the $630 million Elizabeth towards Auckland on her maiden voyage. Sisters sailing further and further apart until this morning, when they shared a sunrise on Sydney Harbour. The massive Mary led the way towards the city before the two queens crossed paths next to a colonial landmark. Once again, we were mesmerised and transported back to another era when the original Elizabeth carried our troops to war, when songs were written about Mary.
The Queen Mary takes me.
And this was the only way to cross the world. For some discerning travellers, it still is. Only now, what were once just rooms on the water, the skyscrapers on the sea. And whereas the real royal family has its disagreements, in this one, it's all smooth sailing.
And Edwina Bartholomew is live on the harbour, so is Nuala Haifter and Brand, of course. Eddie, first up to you, how long are the luxury liners in town?
Well, not very long, Koshy, just until tomorrow morning. And what a spectacular, we didn't see it here earlier, but I've never seen a parallel park quite like it. I'm glad that captain doesn't drive that boat like I drive my car. 90,000 tonnes, the Queen Elizabeth on her maiden voyage. And to think, this is the smaller of the two vessels here this morning. It was a spectacular way to wake up for these 2,000 passengers. Many came out into their robes onto their balconies. Some were actually wearing a little less than that, we noticed. But also spectacular if you lived around Sydney Harbour to be able to hear those horns blaring at around 6:30 this morning as the two ships cross paths. Now, these passengers will get off, around 1,000 will get off here in Sydney this morning around 10 a.m. and 1,000 new passengers are getting on. We've met some of them here this morning, people who've saved their entire lives to continue the voyage on the Queen Elizabeth. Truly will be spectacular, but we hope they do spend the day in Sydney, have a lovely day. The rain is holding off, so that's really good news for all these travellers.
So how long is she in town for, and where to next?
Just until tomorrow, Mel, and she'll continue on this maiden voyage. 103 days she'll be at sea. And the final destination will be Southampton, but she'll be able to spend some time in Australian waters and visiting Adelaide as well, so they'll get a chance to be able to see the beauty of Queen Elizabeth as well.
Yeah, and Nuala, there's some real shipaholics out there, aren't there? Thousands come up to line the foreshore.
And gosh, you can see why. Talk about fun with perspectives. The Queen Mary 2 absolutely dwarfs these warships, and Russell Crowe's home there, not so palatial anymore with the Queen Mary 2 in town. I'm new to this whole big ship appreciation thing. I knew about train spotting, plane spotting, but I was lucky enough to find a seasoned veteran in the hundreds and hundreds that came out to watch at Mrs. Matt's tea this morning. Take a listen.
Oh, yeah, I've seen all of the Cunard ships come in now.
Have you? Which one?
Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, and Queen Mary II.
Oh, you're like an expert.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about them?
Well, the Queen, they're all over 100,000 tons. And, and Queen Mary II is just over 20 decks.
Anthony's cute. One day I reckon we'll be talking to the CEO of Cunard and it'll be Cody just there. That's very, very sweet, Mila. Thank you. Grant, look, I've got to ask, no, it's been lovely seeing you so mesmerised this morning. Why do you think we are so fascinated and take such a huge interest in these beautiful liners?
Well, I think man's always been fascinated by the quest to go further, bigger, faster than ever before, and this is certainly one of those quests. You've got to remember, this was the grand old way that we were first able to do intercontinental travel, was via these grand old ladies. Now it's about size and extravagance, and it's when you are on the water level that you do understand size, that's for sure. If we just whip around here, there is Russell Crowe's house, so that's how close sort of we are. That is nothing in comparison to the size of the Queen Mary 2. We might even actually just have a quick look at our naval ships over here. They're normally enormous. We've stood on those and done the weather several times, and you know, you think you're certainly the king of the castle, and then this lady travels into town. Up the top, we just missed him, but that's where the pilot was, the captain of the ship, who stood up in just the end. You can see how the end of the bridge extends out over the side of the Queen Mary 2. That's in fact to reveal a glass window that he looks into the floor so he can see the precise side of the ship, so when he's docking up against the deck, he knows when he's placed it well. So it's, you know, it's extravagance, it's huge, it's of a scale that we don't ever normally get to see. It's kind of like, it's like space travel done in style.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. All right, guys, thank you for that and all the reports.
Pleasure.
Benjamin Rusty getting up this morning.
Yeah.